What's up, family? Today we have some alarming news that I want to share with you today. This is very important on multiple levels because we have about 3 sets of stories that I want to definitely break down to you right here on this video. But first off, we do need to go ahead and talk about the major news and what happened, what went down yesterday in regards to another mass shooting. This time, this ended up happening at a school in Georgia in which 4 people are now dead from this particular shooting. As you can see right here on the screen, it says that 4 have been confirmed dead, and the suspect is now in custody after this school shooting in the state of Georgia. They have a video right here, but one person saying that this was absolute terror. Families from Georgia school shooting recount hearing agonizing news that a shooting had happened in Georgia high school. Yes, guys, like I said, 4 people were fatally shot and several others were injured at this particular high school on Wednesday morning, sending shocking waves through the leafy Atlanta suburbs of Winder, Georgia, and schools throughout the county went into lockdown. Now, 2 students and 2 teachers were killed. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation Director Chris Hosey, yes, the GBI identified the 4 victims as Mason, Christian, Richard, and Christina. Yes, the 2 children were 14 years old. Yes, and 9 other people were injured in this particular shooting as well. So they were all taken to the hospital with injuries that do not appear to be life-threatening, according to the authorities. Now, the suspect, which is the one that is in custody right now, he is also a 14-year-old student. His name was Colt Gray. Now, I do have some alarming news that I want to share with you in just a moment, but it does state that he was arrested and charged with murder in relation to this particular high school shooting, and authorities said that he would be prosecuted as an adult, even though he's only 14 years old, doing something like this on such a large scale using one of those AK machine guns. Yes, this 14-year-old was old enough to know exactly what he was doing, and yes, he will be charged with this particular adult crime. Guys, we do want to take a moment to go ahead and pray for those individuals. We did lose 2 teachers and 2 students, as well as the other individuals that were injured. Guys, please pray for them. Please pray for their families. Please pray for their parents, their uncles, their aunts, their nieces and nephews. Man, pray for all of them right now. Everyone is hurting, Roz, and definitely pray for this particular school. I would only imagine that the school is not open today because of this shooting. So we definitely want to keep all of those in our prayers in the meantime. But anyways, like I said, that the director had told reporters that the weapon used was an AR platform style rifle. He said that authorities were still investigating how the shooter got the gun and brought it into the school. Reports about an active shooter at this high school started coming in around 10 a.m. and law enforcement arrived minutes later. Once they encountered the shooter, he immediately surrendered and was taken into custody. So anyways, the county sheriff told reporters he was not aware of any connection between the suspected shooter and the victims. This is very, very fluid investigation. Things are turning over as the minutes, as the hours continue to roll by. We'll probably have some more information sometime today in regards to the shooter. We might actually have a picture that might show up as well. But anyways, guys, you can obviously see that this is a very evil thing that ended up happening. And like I said, I would solicit you to join me in praying for those individuals that ended up losing their lives. Pray for them, pray for their families, pray for their loved ones, as well as their friends. Pray for all of them. Keep them in your prayers in the meantime. Do what you can if you live in that local area. I will continue to keep praying for all of you out there in this particular Georgia area. So we definitely want to keep you guys lifted up in prayer in the meantime. But moving on to some other alarming news. We just received word about 48, 72 hours ago that China has officially penetrated the U.S. internet. Yes, guys, a lot of people are talking about, what does this mean? Does it affect us? Is it going to affect my TikTok account? Well, not necessarily, but it does give China the upper edge in order to commit more crimes against the United States in the future. You know, we've talked about it before on this channel, where China, as well as potentially Russia, could potentially shut down the United States because they are infiltrated into our systems. They can shut down the electrical grid anytime they want to. They can shut down the water grid anytime they want to. They pretty much are already sitting in the system and waiting for the signal from the leaders in China to tell them to push that disconnect button. So this is very important right here. But as you can see in this particular article that came out, it says that Chinese government hackers penetrate the U.S. internet and the providers, and now they are spying on them, spying on the United States in different types of ways, as well as the internet providers spying on the individuals that use that particular internet. The unusual, aggressive, and sophisticated attacks include access to at least 2 major U.S. providers with millions of customers, as well as to several smaller providers as well. This reminds me of the recent attack against AT&T, in which they ended up shutting down AT&T for several hours. And this is just another case of China, as well as other countries, hacking in to our country. Now, what should we do? Should we go ahead and block everyone outside of the United States? Because that is exactly what places like North Korea, Russia, and China do already. They block the United States from getting into their internet area or system. So why don't we do the same? Yeah, the United States doesn't operate that way. So anyways, guys, it does say right here, the Chinese government hackers penetrated the U.S. internet providers to spy on the American people. Beijing's hacking effort has dramatically stepped up from where it used to be, according to the former top U.S. cybersecurity official. Chinese government-backed hackers have penetrated deep into the U.S. internet service providers in the recent months to spy on its users, according to the people familiar with the ongoing American response and private security researchers. It is business as usual now for China, but that is dramatically stepped up from where it used to be. The hacks raise some major concerns because their targets are believed to include government and military personnel working undercover in groups of strategic interest to China. That is exactly why they are trying to get more information, because it's going to benefit them in multiple ways. But anyways, as a former FBI agent stated, that this is privileged, high-level connectivity to interesting customers, and which described one of the campaigns but didn't identify the ISPs that it targeted. It was notable that the groups considered the effort important enough to exploit previously undisclosed software flaws that could have been preserved for later usage. So again, the White House is involved in regards to this, trying to figure out what they were doing. There is a full-blown investigation into these particular hacking efforts by China. Now, the biggest question is, how will the United States respond to this? I would only say, looking at previous examples, that the United States will probably put out a blanket message, but they won't necessarily do anything towards China at all. Now, I will say, considering that we are in the political things right now in regards to less than 60 days away before the next election, if Donald Trump was the president right now, I'm sure that he would be putting out some major threats directly towards China. But unfortunately, President Biden is leading the country right now, which he is a little bit soft right now. He is basically on his way out the door. So anyways, they probably won't do much in relation to this new information that we just received from the U.S. intelligence officials in regards to this hacking attempt that was successful, by the way. But anyways, guys, I definitely want to at least give you that information because it just shows you that the United States is vulnerable, guys. We are pretty much vulnerable to other countries such as Russia, such as China, and they continue to try to infiltrate our system because they want to get close, because they want to get the opportunity of shutting the United States down one day, especially if we ever have to go towards a nuclear war. Just think about it. If we end up going to a nuclear war with either Russia or China, and then they end up pushing that red button and shutting down the United States electrical grid, that means we won't have any connectivity to our military that is fighting overseas, as well as our military here in the United States. So that makes us even more vulnerable to these type of attacks, and that does give China or Russia the upper hand against us. So this is definitely alarming. This is definitely scary information just to think about the possibility. But anyways, guys, we have got to get stronger here in the United States, and we need a leader that is going to be strong to lead us and to protect us from any type of adversary, such as either China or Russia or even North Korea. Wouldn't you guys agree? If so, comment down below and let me know how you feel about that. Also, take the time to hit that like button on this video right now. I really appreciate it. It helps this video grow in the meantime. But anyways, guys, moving on, last but not least, I do want to go ahead and give you a story. We talked about it here briefly, but I just want to give you an additional update and remind you that you still need to avoid deli meats. Yes, guys, we've talked about it previously in regards to the Listeria outbreak that has been going on across the United States. More specifically in specific states. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But yes, the CDC is reminding us that we still need to avoid some of the recalled deli meats that is pretty much linked to the Listeria outbreak. Yes, the CDC Food Safety Alert announces more illnesses and deaths in Listeria outbreak linked to deli meats. Yes, since the last update that came out in August the 8th of this year, 14 more illnesses have been reported, bringing the total to 57. And all 57 have been hospitalized, and 8 deaths have been reported thus far. Now, the 5 new deaths include 1 from Florida, 1 from Tennessee, and 1 from New Mexico, and 2 from South Carolina. This is the largest Listeria outbreak since 2011 outbreak linked to cantaloupe. Everyone should check their homes for any remaining recalled boar's head products, since they have been long a shelf life. Look at the established 12612 or P-12612 inside the USDA mark of inspection of the product labels. Some of the products have been selling dates into October of 2024. So anyways, guys, yes, Listeria is a harder germ that can remain on surfaces like meat slices and foods, even at refrigerated temperatures. It can also take up to 10 weeks for some people to have symptoms of the Listeria wiped away clean from their body, so, or flushed out, if you will. But anyways, they are still reminding us that number 1, do not eat recalled deli meats. In addition to that, people who are at higher risk of getting sick with Listeria, such as those who are pregnant or age 65 and older, or have a weak immune system, should always avoid eating meats sliced at deli counters unless heated to an internal temperature of 165 degrees or until steaming pot just before serving it. Clean your refrigerators, containers, and surfaces that may have touched the sliced deli meats. Call your healthcare provider if you have symptoms of Listeria. But anyways, guys, like I said, I just wanted to give you a reminder about this particular Listeria outbreak. And like I said, in regards to the states, we now know that we have a map of about 18 states that have been affected by the Listeria outbreak that are also tied to boar's head deli meat. Check this out right here. I will just go ahead and scroll all the way down to the map. It does say that map shows which states are affected by the Listeria outbreak. According to the CDC, 57 people have been sickened across 18 states. The map shows where the 57 people in Listeria outbreak have lived. The deaths occurred in Illinois, New Jersey, New York, Virginia, Florida, Tennessee, New Mexico, and South Carolina. New York has reported the most cases, and they are sitting at 17 cases of Listeria right now. So again, this thing is getting larger and larger by the day. Remember, to get rid of your deli meats, don't necessarily need to check it. Just throw it out, guys. Go ahead and take the loss. It's not worth it. We did it for my family, so I would definitely encourage you to do the same. But if you look at this particular map right here, you can see that it is mostly sitting on the East Coast. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not on the West Coast, because you see New Mexico, and I believe that is Arizona right there. So anyways, guys, these are just some of the states. Doesn't necessarily know about the other states that still could be affected by this as well, but you definitely want to take your precaution right now. Just throw those deli meats away, and if you know someone that potentially might be eating this at school for their lunch, for their children, grandchildren, or your neighbors, definitely remind them and let them know about the Listeria outbreak, just in case they haven't been watching the news in the last several days. So I definitely wanted to give you that information and just to remind you, 9 people have died so far, guys. So this is definitely serious right now. But anyways, guys, like I said, keep those families in your prayers. The 9 individuals that lost their lives due to the Listeria outbreak, keep them, their loved ones and their families in your prayers, as well as then also in regards to that high school shooting, do the same for them as well. I'll do my part. Hopefully you'll do your part. But anyways, guys, outside of all that, hit the like button on this video. I really appreciate it. And then also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. This is the perfect time to become a part of Budget Bill's family. Outside of all of that, I hope to see you on the next video.